Hi, my name's Ash-Leigh and this is my Summative demo. Over there you can see my athlete, Jared. He is an ex-basketball player. He played for his first team high school basketball player throughout his high school career. Today we'll be doing an exercise program that consists of a speed, power, strength and endurance exercise, followed by flexibility in our cool down. For warm-up, we'll start with jogging around the court. Make sure your athlete doesn't cut the corner like mine did on that first corner. It is very important that you set the bar during your warm-up, as if you have a good warm-up, I personally believe your session is more likely to be good. For this program, a basketball isn't needed. However, I decided to use one during the warm-up a bit just to make it a bit more interesting, a bit more interactive, every now and then throwing the ball between me and the athlete. It's always good to talk to your athlete during their warm-up just to, again, set the tone, make it a bit more relaxed. Okay, now next we move on to high knees. It's important for your athlete to try and get their knees as high as possible. My athlete does that pretty well, as well as butt kicks. I usually get my athletes to do this twice just to make sure they're extra warm. It's just a very nice exercise as well. Next we move on to the lunge and twist. Again, I just find this nice just to loosen everything up. It's important that your athlete watches their form. You'll see my athlete every now and then twists his ankle and his one foot. I think it's his left foot. And that they lunge as deep as possible. Again, nice just to walk with your athletes, talk to them. Okay, next we do Frankensteins. This helps with warm-up as well, just getting a bit of mobility. It helps with a bit of flexibility as well. As you can see, my athlete battles with his flexibility there a bit to get his legs a bit higher. We do, however, focus on flexibility during our cool down. Okay, next we just have some shoulder circles just to loosen up the shoulders a bit. And then some arm crossovers just so that we're loosening the shoulders just in a different way. Also, again, so it's not the same old thing, it doesn't get too boring. Over there I turn my back on my athlete, which I shouldn't have done. It's always important to watch your athlete even during warm-up. However, I can hopefully get away with that one since it was just arm crossovers. Okay, finally we're doing leg swings, again just to loosen up, get our hip flexors open and everything. The reason we're doing so much legs in this warm-up is because this program consists of a lot of running and leg work. Okay, so for our first exercise, I made my athlete do suicides. This was to focus on speed. I like suicides because I find that they work very well on speed and agility, as your athlete has to touch and turn. For this program, I made my athlete do 2 continuous suicides and then have a short break and repeat. Okay, it is important that your athlete does touch the line. If you're working with younger athletes, I prefer to walk up and down with them to make sure they're not cheating, but I trust my athlete to touch the line. Okay, so after the first one we take a short break and then we repeat that. But then next we moved on to jump squats. This was to work on our power, our explosive power. Over here you can see me explaining the correct form to my athlete. With exercises like this, it's always important that your athlete understands the correct form to minimize the risk of injury. Over here you'll see that my athlete has good form, but his height isn't great. I do tell him later on that he must get more height. There we go. Okay, we repeated this twice. We had to modify it as I overestimated my athlete's abilities, unfortunately, over here. So we did 2 sets of 20. Again, in an exercise like this, it's very important that you watch your athlete. Okay, next for functional movement, we did push-ups. This is also very good just to get some arm work in, obviously. I like to sit at different angles through each set just to make sure that my athlete's got the right form. Again, during breaks, I find it's very nice to get a bit of feedback from your athlete. Also, just make it more relaxed bond with your athlete. Okay, over here you'll see I'm sitting at a different angle, like I said earlier. Just helps you see things differently. Like here I could see that his head was a bit low. I do tell him to lift it. Okay, finally we moved on to our last exercise, which was endurance based. I chose to do interval runs, as again I just find they're a bit more interesting than just running up and down. It consists of 3 phases: your jog, your run, and your sprint. It's very important that you can see the difference in each phase so that you know your athlete is definitely changing. I like to get my athlete to do it about 5 times, the court 5 times, just to make sure that they did push a bit, then give them a bit of a break, and then do it again. I usually do this about 3 or 4 times. Okay, and again there, it's always nice to just follow your athlete a bit, stand there encouraging them. Okay, and then I think this is the final time we did it. Here you can see nicely the different paces. Okay, as I said earlier, but I find definitely with the last exercise, especially the last phase of it, it's always important to really motivate your athlete and just keep them going, push them. Okay, and then to end off, I like to push my athlete just that little bit more, so you'll see I make him sprint the full court now. Cool, and then we'll go straight into cool down, which consists of jogging around the field, the court once or twice, and just walking around a bit. You'll see I make my athlete just walk up and down the court. Cool down is also always very important. This part of cool down I like just so my athlete can get their heart rate down, get their breath back. You know, they can even grab a little bit of water here before we go into our static stretching. Even though it's cool down, it's very important that your athlete does do everything correctly. So again, no cutting corners or anything like that. Again, there I accidentally turned my back on my athlete, which I shouldn't have done. Okay, once you're happy with how far your athlete has jogged, you can stop them, just get them to walk. Over here I tell my athlete to put his arms up, just open up his chest, open up his lungs. Because of the fast forwarding, it looks like he's walking a lot faster than he was. Okay, there, and then you can see I have the mat. I like to bring the mat just for a bit of extra comfort. Also because on hot days, if there's no shade, the court can be very hot and I don't want my athletes to get burnt. For this athlete, I like to help him stretch. As you can see, we're working on his flexibility a lot. So it's me stretching him just gives it that little bit of an extra hand. His leg was very tight there, you can see my facial expressions. Also at the end of during cool down, I find it nice just to get feedback from the whole session. It's a nice way to find out how your athlete found the program, what they liked, what they didn't like, and discuss any changes or any schedules that need to be made. So there again, even during cool down, your form is very important. You'll see I tell my athlete to drop his shoulder a bit. We don't want it in his ear. There we're stretching his back a bit. Probably should have held that a bit longer. Alright, and that's my demo. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you to my athlete Jared for participating and my mom for filming this.